Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful Muscle Podcast with my fabulous co-host, Jody Dolo. How are you doing today?
I'm great. If you're new here, welcome. Gio and I are two individuals who went on our own health and wellness journeys and collectively have lost and maintained a 145-pound weight loss. And we're here to show everyone, especially the beginner, that it is possible with sustainable ways and we are worth the effort.
Amen for that. Look, so here's what we want to introduce. Many of you may know that I accidentally deleted our old YouTube channel, and a lot of the episodes are going to be republished. And this weekend, that's what we're going to do. Jody, let them know whose episode we're going to republish.
We are going to republish Curtis. Curtis White is an awesome individual. He has gone through cancer, what was it, 5 times?
Yes.
And he's a type 2 diabetic. He has run a marathon. He has competed in a bodybuilding show. He is somebody that just keeps going no matter what is getting thrown his way. And he is probably one of my favorite people besides Gio from the Fit Bod community because he's so incredibly supportive. The gym community need more people like Curtis who are so thoughtful, so disciplined, has a lot of grit, but he will periodically message me and just tell me, Jody, I wanted to let you know I appreciate everything you do. You're really grinding out there, and I see the hard work you do. He really is an upstanding guy.
Yes, he is. And I love the title of his episode was Choose Your Heart. And if anybody knows anything about that, it's Curtis, right? 5-time cancer survivor, type 2 diabetic, and he's always in the gym. And not only is he always in the gym, as you alluded to, he's always being positive, whether it's on his own Instagram posts or reaching out to you, reaching out to us as a podcast, or reaching out to me individually. He always has a positive attitude. And so the question for us, and in this episode that we highlight, is what's your heart? Choose your heart. Either you're going to be sick because of your own choices, or you're going to try to be healthy by your own choices. Neither is easy, but overall, we want to do the right thing. And that's what this episode is about. So enjoy it. That being said, Jody, it's a holiday season. What would you like to tell our listeners?
Happy holidays. And remember, it's not what you do during the holiday that matters. So if you decide to indulge, that's great. If not, that's fine too. But it's more important what we do when it comes to our healthy habits between New Year's and Christmas, not between Christmas and New Year's.
Speaking of which, last night we had a community little local party. And even though I did save some calories so I can eat because we were all bringing sweets, I went over those calories and I didn't mind. A lot of chocolate chip cookies. And there was this lady who made this chocolate covered peanuts where
Mhm.
you could taste the sweetness of the chocolate, but when you get into peanuts, they're salty roasted peanuts. Oh, it was so good. So, yes, listen to Jody, enjoy your holidays. More importantly, spend time with your family if you can, if it's possible, if you can reconcile with your family, if anything's wrong, just enjoy it. So, enjoy this episode, and we'll see you guys next week. And welcome everybody back to the Mindful Muscle podcast with my co-host Jody and a special guest with us, Curtis, the Slappy the Squirrel at Instagram. Jody, how you doing? And then Curtis, I want to know how you came up with that name.
Fantastic. I'm excited to be here. Curtis is an amazing person and he's inspiring and so amazing. So I can't wait to dig deep into everything.
Curtis, how'd you come up with that Instagram name?
I am a huge giant nerd and I love the Animaniacs cartoon. And there was a character on there called Slappy the Squirrel. So when I started playing World of Warcraft, I had to usurp it for my own purposes.
There you go. Before we dive into your episode and your story, which is fantastic, and I love, as you claim, you're an open book, you did compete in a bodybuilding your first time and you won. Give us a little teaser about that before we explore it more later in the episode.
It was by far the best fitness journey that I could have taken. And all the way through it taught me more about my body than just about anything else I've done.
Okay, so pay attention towards the end of the episode. We'll dive deeper into that. So tell me though about your fitness journey. Have you been working out all your life? How did that get started? What motivated you to compete, to work out, to be on top?
I've always been, I say always, I mean, I started out in high school playing football and I was all the way active through college, got married, started having kids, and work became the priority. About 32, when I was 32, became the big crunch point because I got diagnosed with bladder cancer for the first time. I was 350 pounds,
First.
and I'm 6'4". I'm a big guy. So,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of weight. And a week after I got diagnosed with bladder cancer, I got diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. So it was a
Mm.
wonderful week all the way around. But really, from that point forward, that kind of lit a fire. I have never been a sit back and take it type person. I tend to be very proactive. So when the doctor told me, it was basically like, I can't directly attribute your cancer to smoking, but I've never seen it in a non-smoker. So I pretty much quit cold turkey right after that. I'd smoked for 14 years, like 2 packs a day. So at that point, I quit the cigarettes because I wanted to be around for my kids. And I was like, I got diagnosed type 2, and I looked at the doctor and she goes, we're going to start you on these pills for metformin. She goes, you're going to start with 2 a day, then you're going to go up to 4 in a month. And I was like, okay, what do I have to do to not take those? And she goes, Curtis, you're at the point, you're lucky I'm not putting you on insulin. Great. What do I have to do? So she goes, okay. She goes, I don't care what exercise you get. She goes, I want you to sweat every morning for 30 minutes. She goes, just do something, pick something and do it. She goes, no more than 100 grams of carbs, and just real general advice is what she gave me right off the bat. And of course, me being the type A compulsive person that I am, I'm like, gotcha. I got this. Started researching, joined the gel, and I did for the longest time what I call the 5x5, which was I do a 5K run and then 5 miles on the recumbent bike every morning. And I had always been a weightlifter all the way through high school. So literally, like turning to the weights never figured into my head for whatever reason. And
So
I lost weight.
yeah, so let me jump in here. You said something earlier that you got diagnosed with bladder cancer for the first time. That implies what? Because, well,
Um,
go ahead.
yeah, it's recurred. I got tested every 3 months for the first 2 years, which I'll spare everybody the gory details. It involves a camera, and there's only one way to get to your bladder, and you can figure that out for yourself. Yeah. So it recurred every 2 years for 4 more years, or well, 4 more cycles. So I have had bladder cancer 5 times. I've been
Wow.
through 2 rounds of chemotherapy, 2 full rounds of it, which caused its own set of issues. It's one of those things of I always used it as a learning thing for my kids. Anytime they were grappling because they had to get a booster or a shot at the doctor or whatever, I was like, every 3 months, they shove a camera up inside me to look inside me. You can't complain. This will be done and over with real quick. We do what we take to be healthy. And that was always the thing. It's like, if you want to match me, that's fine. But otherwise, we're doing what we got to do.
Wow. And you're still smiling.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My modesty a long time ago with the cancer went out the window. I remember one appointment that I had with my urologist, and he had me up in the stirrups and everything. And he goes, "Hey, you're fairly relaxed, or you've done this multiple times." He goes, "Would you mind if I brought a couple of people in here that are learning?" And I was like, I don't care, doc. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm all out." He goes, "Okay." And then he proceeds to troop in him and the nurse, and then 5 other people who all stand
Mercy.
directly behind him while he's scoping me. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I hope I don't see these people at Walmart.
hey,
I know, yeah. So
I
let me
mean,
ask you though, there had to be some dark moments though, because having survived cancer 5 different times, share with us some of the low points and what got you through that. Because the Curtis I know is always happy, go lucky. I didn't know about the 5 times. I knew you were a cancer survivor, but five's a bit much, buddy.
It's I literally look at it like this. It is one of those things of it is all mindset. And but don't get me wrong, I have been on antidepressants. I have been to therapy. Um, it is one of those things of there's a lot of soul searching and a lot of praying and a lot of you search out what drives you every day and you know what makes it happen. And literally at this point in my life, it's a I refuse to be negative. Um, there's so much we get bombarded with just like constant, like how bad everything is and how dangerous everything is. And it's, I'm a stats guy. I am a data guy. And you look at the data and it's our world is pretty dang good. There's a lot to be to look at and just be like, man, this is awesome. Look at the stuff we grew up with, or like Gio, you're my age and you growing up, there was no internet. You're going to the library, you're searching for information. I'm like, you're reading all hard copies. You don't have access to books everywhere you go. And I look at it now and I'm like, no, I have the world at my fingertips at any point through the pandemic. It's, they locked us inside our house, but they literally, we have everything in the world. We have Amazon that'll deliver to the house. We can get mail services, grocery delivery. And I live in the middle of nowhere. And like, I have all these creature comforts. So it's not that bad. I can't complain about it.
That's an awesome mindset because so many people crumble at, oh, I got a hanging toenail or it's raining outside. And here is Curtis, five-time cancer survivor. When was the last episode that you had to deal with?
I am, this year is 10 years. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
We got to ring the bell?
I, I hope so. It is, I talked to my urologist and after this year's checkup, I think we're going to push it to one checkup every 2 years. And it has been one of those things of, I don't mind getting checked, but if I could push it another year, because we've been clear for this long, I'm good with that.
So you had your why and you were back at the gym. Did you have any gym anxiety? Or I know your why was stronger than any gym anxiety, but I'm curious, were you nervous or uncomfortable going to the gym?
I didn't really have any big gym anxiety. I'm one of those type of people that I am an introvert by nature. Friends at the gym will tell me now that, it's, man, you look mad. You just look angry all the time. And I'm like, but I'm focused. I'm doing my workout. And that was the big thing is like when I was going, I was with a purpose. I was there to do something and that was it. There was no in betweens. There was no, hey, I want to socialize. I want to talk. I was there for a reason. But yeah, I know I didn't lift. And that was one of the things of I didn't really know where to start.
And going back a little bit, you had mentioned you had type 2 diabetes. How is that doing? And what changes did you make to your nutrition to help with that?
Believe it or not, a lot. Now, I was big on the no carbs, no bread, no pastas. And I realized fairly early on that it's not sustainable. Jody, it's like your message that you always put out there is that you've got to have a good relationship with your food. You've got to, there's no such thing as a bad food. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I had Oreos today, so it's, I'm not going to gripe about food, but it is one of those things of, I do monitor it daily. I do concede the point on, I know exactly what's going to spike my blood sugar or what's going to make it better and different things like that. It's a balancing act. I try to get enough protein every day. I drink a metric ton of water. Anybody that knows me knows I go through 2 or 3 gallons of water a day and I am drinking constantly and that helps quite a bit. And that was one of the things of I've started adding a lot more fiber, listening to you, Gio. That was one of the things that I'm like, I wonder if it's actually will help. And it has somewhat. I actually started a new medication a couple of weeks ago because my resting blood sugar, my fasting blood sugar in the morning has been a lot higher than normal the last 2 months. And there's no dietary reasons why it should be spiking up. So the doctor put me on a new medication and it's helped somewhat, but I'm only 2 weeks into it. So I'm going to give it plenty of time, but we'll see.
And to those people who have to eliminate pasta because refined carbs or wheat pasta, let me introduce you to edamame pasta and black bean pasta. Just today, I posted about black bean pasta, and somebody with insulin issues says it doesn't spike their insulin. So that is something that somebody may look into. Obviously, everybody's different, so people may react, but it's high protein. It's good. It tastes good. At least I like it, and many people have liked it as well. As a result of your cancer and your type 2 diabetes, has there been any residual effect, though, to your body, to the way you operate?
I've got two of them actually. I have neuropathy in my left side, and when I say my left side, every bit of my left side. So any of my joints, from my fingertips down to my shoulders, to my toes, my knees, my hip, if colder weather, it hurts, and it hurts a lot. It's honestly feels like someone stabbing me with ice picks, and it's stick
Oh,
your joint. That's what you're going to get. Like right now, pain level, let's say normal people, it's like a pain level of 3 or 4 just right now. And
mm,
that's normal. That's my day to day. I used to, and I have made a resolution this year to not do this, but I used to spike my blood sugar when it got real bad because it took away some of the pain. My body couldn't compete basically. And that's a bad plan. Let me
yeah.
throw it out there. Don't do that. It's using your body's biomechanics against itself. And hey, good for me for figuring out the hack, but it's not good in the long run. So the other thing is, due to the chemo, I have lower testosterone. So I am on TRT treatments. And it's one of those things of, I see a lot of people in the gym that are obviously on a whole lot more stuff than I am. But I spent, when I really got into lifting again, I started a program. I bought a book and was like, I'm doing this book. And I went through it and I was like, I felt stronger and I was like, great. And then I got real dedicated and I found Fit Bond and I started doing their workouts. And I went through probably a good year and a half. And I'm like, I'm working out 6 days a week. I am doing cardio 30 to an hour every day. My calories should be in a lot better shape than what I am. And when I couldn't figure it out and finally went to the doctor and got my levels checked. And that was one of the things that we talked about was that I don't want to be superhuman. I don't want to look like Arnold. I
Mm-hmm.
would love to look like Arnold, but I don't want to take what I would have to take to do that. I don't want to risk my health. I just literally want the results for the work that I'm putting in. And when we tested my levels, I was at rock bottom. She's like, next to nothing. And I'm like, that
Mm-hmm.
makes perfect sense. If you have chemotherapy in that region of your body where testosterone is produced, it's probably going to have a negative effect.
For some people on TRT, and I'm glad that you speak about it openly. A matter of fact, he called me out because I said a generalization on one of our previous podcasts, but that's the kind of friendship we have. He called me out, we spoke about it, and it's true. And I clarified with you that there are some individuals who are on TRT, but try to hide it or say they're not on it. But prior to the TRT, everybody experiences different kind of symptoms. What were some of the symptoms you were experiencing?
My biggest thing was, and I'm over 40, I'm well past 40 at this point. And it was one of those things of there were other people in the gym. They, they were there a lot lighter than me, but they had a lot more energy. Their diets were substantially different than mine. Most of them were grabbing fast food 2 or 3 times a week. And it's okay. Why? Just basic biochemistry. Why are they so different than me? The biggest difference was the energy level. I used to tell people when I'd go to the gym, the difference in energy level is I was forcing myself every day. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I would pry myself out of bed. I would go grab my pre-workout. I would drive to the gym and it focused to get there. Now I'm awake. I sleep 7, 8 hours. I'm awake and I'm like, okay, let's go get my stuff. I actually feel like I have the energy to go do the workouts now. The benefits of it, I have amazing recovery. I can push my body a lot further than I think is probably normal. I used to have the 3 days of leg days. So it
Yeah.
wasn't the day after, it was the day after. And it's like, oh, your legs aren't supposed to be sore for 3 quarters of the week. Now I did a hard leg workout today. I feel fine. I could probably go put a decent workout in tomorrow morning and not really have any ill effects and put close to the same weight up. That's a great benefit. When I got my levels tested, I am setting it like 600, which for a guy my age is right dead center. It's not exceptional. I look at it like this. A lot of my endurance and stamina has been helped, but it was built based off the fundamentals and the time that I put into the gym.
Hmm. How do you balance working and having a family and still focusing on your goals? Because I know I'm somebody, and I'm sure you've heard the same. You're lucky you have time to work out. So I'm just curious how you balance it all because you do have a family, you do work, and you work real hard.
Mhm.
I have 4 kids and a lovely wife who puts up with my nonsense. And yeah, that was, luckily 3 of my kids are grown. They're above 18. They are either at college or they're living their lives and doing exceptional. I've got one that turns 10 today. So happy birthday, Jasmine.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and it's about what you pick. I love my videos and I'm keeping this as PG as possible.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
you know, just to prove that I can do it. But I'm a big believer in you embrace the suck. You choose your heart. You
Yeah.
literally, the- there, all the stuff that we do. If you're a gym goer, if you're monitoring your nutrition, if you're living your life on a day to day basis, if you're going in and putting 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week at work, guess what? It's all hard. There's nothing easy about it, but you pick it. I've been on the other end. Being 350 pounds was hard. Getting a cancer diagnosis in my early 30s, that's hard. Being type 2 diabetic is hard. There are a mountain of things that are difficult in this life. Uh, Going to the gym, it's hard, but it's easy. It's, that's one of the things that I love. Everybody's like, how do you do this? It's the simplest program on the planet. It's easy, hard to do. The consistency is hard. You just got to pick it. You do 4 o'clock in the morning. Would I love to sleep in till 6 or 7 every morning and get up and just be like, hop in the shower and go to work? Yes, I absolutely would. That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, nothing that I want will be gained if I do that.
To the audience who's listening, because Jody and I, and obviously you see it on FitBod community page and other places, Instagram, that's what people struggle with the most, with consistency, to do it day in and day out. What would you say to somebody who's asking you for advice? Because Jody comes at it from a different perspective, so do I. And so, what would you say to somebody who's looking for that consistency?
It literally is, you've got to figure out what you're going to sacrifice. There's 24 hours in a day. I don't watch a lot of TV. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of music. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't have time to sit in front of a television. There's too much stuff going on at the house. There's too much stuff going on in life. But I choose that. And you've got to choose what you're willing to sacrifice, whether it be an hour of sleep in the morning or an hour spent with your spouse in the afternoon. You've got to work out that in your own head. You've got to figure out what you're willing to put. It's the greater good, what you're willing to put that greater good in front of. I look at it like this. I set the example for what my kids will do. I set the example for what people look at me. And you know what? I may not leave a huge impact on this world, but anybody that knows me will know that dude could do anything he put his mind to. And I like my stupid challenges. I ran a marathon because of it. I competed in a bodybuilding show. I'll probably do another one because it was so much fun. But they were all based off of that mentality of, I need a goal. I need something out there that I can go get. What's your thing? I want to be healthy. I want to live to see my grandchildren. Great. What are you willing to sacrifice to do that? Are you willing to sacrifice an hour a day? If you are, fantastic. I got a plan for you. Are you willing to sacrifice 30 minutes? I guarantee you, you can get there. But it's all about dialing back that mindset of, I had to give up everything. No, you don't. No, I get to watch about an hour of TV with my wife every day. We sit down while we're eating dinner and watch a show. Great. I catch things eventually. We started a movie last night. Guess what? Didn't get all the way through it. Curtis goes to bed at 9:15. I'm up at 4. I am not staying up real late. 9 o'clock rolled around. I had things I had to finish up. Guess what? Movie got paused. We'll finish it tonight.
Yeah, and I love that because listening to your story and obviously knowing some of Jody's story is that there are principles that we all carry, even though we may apply differently. The three of us could be considered grandparents because we go to bed early, all three of us. And because why? We've noticed or we have put working out as a priority in the morning. Not that you can't work out in the afternoon, but we choose to prioritize it in the morning. What are some of the principles, Jody, you see in what he said that are carried out by people who are actually being successful in keeping their fitness?
Being willing to sacrifice and making time for it. Like I could easily sleep in by skipping going to the gym, but that's not good enough. I had a health scare. I'm doing so much better than I used to. Like, no, I have to still prioritize my health and get it done. It's almost like brushing my teeth. I wouldn't consider not brushing my teeth because I don't feel like getting up and going into the bathroom to do it. It's like it's who I am now. It's important to me. I know that a lot of people say they don't have time, but I used to be one of those people until life smacked me in the face and said, "Wake up, or you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life and keep growing on the list of medical problems." I know there's never a guarantee avoiding those health issues, but I wasn't going to sit back and just do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So you spoke about pushing yourself. You ran a marathon. You did a bodybuilding competition. Let's talk about the marathon because I don't like running. Jody does it reluctantly. What made you do a marathon, brother?
Oh, believe it or not, it was a goal. When I first started losing weight, I would do those 5Ks and 5K, 5 miles on the bike in the morning. And I had run a bunch of 5Ks in the area and I was like, I could do this. So there was a half marathon that I ran and this was right. Oh, it was right at before, like a couple months before I got my second time diagnosed with the cancer. And I ran it and I was like, that wasn't that bad. I could probably do a full. And I'm like, that's an accomplishment. That's something to do. So I started training for it. I got diagnosed with the second round and my doctor looked at me and goes, I want you to do chemo. And I'm like, no problem, doc. I ain't even going to quit training. I, that's the dumbest thing I ever thought, by the way, just so we're clear. I made it like a week and training went out the window. I was going to run the Little Rock Marathon and I was like, I can't, I have no energy. It is the absolute worst thing I've ever been through is chemotherapy. So don't recommend it. But years went by and I was like, I've got to do this. It's been that thing that's hung over my head. So I started training for it and I ran a couple of local races and I was like, I can still do this. And this is 10 years past from that initial time. And I'm like, I can do this. So I was training. I was about 6 weeks out from the marathon and I developed plantar fasciitis in both my feet.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
no.
So I was like, great. I've already paid all this money. I've got my hotel room booked. I'm doing this. If I have to crawl, I'm doing the marathon. So it came, I rested up. I got through, it was mile 10 and I was doing good. I was well ahead of my pace. I was like, man, this has been fantastic. And we started on the uphill portion and the plantar fasciitis checked in and I, I, I didn't crawl, but it wasn't real fast, but I made it through the entire thing. So that was all that mattered. And just to be real with everybody, I haven't ran since. I don't plan on ever running again. So
See, it knocks some sense into you. Ain't nobody got time for running.
I do my stair climber in the morning. I'm happy with my stairs. I'll keep my stairs.
Yeah, I'm a spin bike guy. I get on my Peloton in the mornings or in the afternoon, and I'm fine with that.
Do you have any fitness or wellness bucket list items, like 3 or 4? I wanna
Uh,
accomplish this at some point.
yes. So on the goal board, I have a massive whiteboard that I keep in my kitchen that we plan bills and our schedules and everything. There's always my goals up there as well. So right now I am cutting weight. I am
Mhm.
looking at trying to get down to 225 pounds. And this is my son's fault. That nonsense in my head about hitting a weight goal was never in my head. This kid is literally 6'3". He is my clone, basically. And he is down to 200 pounds and he is just ripped. It is
Mm.
disgusting.
Oh, mercy.
He is a gym junkie. He's got a trainer. It's just, I'm like, I so don't like you right now. This is cruel.
And your
I'm
fault, I
glad
bet.
I'm, I'm glad he wasn't competing against me because he would have wiped the floor with me. It would have been horrible. And thank goodness there's an age bracket. And I was like, all right, fine. I want to get down to 225. That's still a realistic weight goal for my size. And I want to be under 10% body fat. At the show, I got down to probably it was like 11 or 12, but I want to drop that last little bit and just see what my body can do.
Speaking of that, though, are there any concerns by your doctor about going too low on the body fat, considering your type 2 diabetic and your previous cancer histories? Are there any concerns from your medical?
Not really. My doctors are pretty much aware of how I am. As my urologist said, he goes, I know a lot of marathoners. I don't know many bodybuilders. And I'm like, congratulations, you met one. My regular doctor, she's pretty good with the fact that if I go in and I start talking about something, it's probably because I've spent the last 2 months researching it. So I don't tend to walk into situations where I am not informed. I like to be ahead of the game. I like to have answers to my questions before I ever start asking the questions of them. So they are pretty good with it. Now, with that being said, I am hyper aware of my body. Going through as much crap as I've been through, you don't do that and then just be like, mysterious pain in my shoulder. What is that? Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. I've got a pinched nerve in my back that I have been rehabbing for the past 2 months. And it's fine. I'm actually, this past couple of weeks have felt better than ever, but I took it slow. I did a lot of stretching. I do a lot of mobility work. Being older, guess what? You
Mhm.
never figure out stretching until you get older. And then,
Yes,
why didn't I do this earlier?
you're so right. Mobility and stretching is so underrated by people, and more people should do it. You should be able to maintain a split all your life if you could have done it as a kid. But it's hard, right? We get sedentary, we think we only have enough time to lift the weights and we don't put enough time to the mobility and the stretching. I'm one who's constantly having to preach that to myself. Stay pliable. So you mentioned the bodybuilding. So you're 5-time cancer survivor. You have type 2 diabetes. You have a pinched nerve. You ran a marathon that you barely finished. What made you say, you know what, let me try bodybuilding?
Like I said before, I like to have goals. I like to, and that's literally was the thing is that I was like, okay, what can I do? I don't want to run a marathon. And I had friends that were like, triathlon, you can do it. And I'm like, and no, hey, there's no water around me. I'm
We're
like,
saving that for Ryan, right? Ryan Milton.
Ryan, Ryan can have all the triathlons. I will not compete with the man. But yeah, no, I don't. No, thank you. But I've always been a bodybuilding fan. I've been to shows throughout my life. I've been to competitions, amateur and pro. I always love the kind of mentality of that. It's the one of the promoters I talked to. He goes, "This is the 1%." He goes, "You hear about the 1% all the time." He goes, "These people that get up here are the 1%. They take their bodies and they do something that is extraordinary. They push themselves in their physical being to a point where there's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason." In my word of caution, because I don't throw many of them out, if you watch a show, if you see bodybuilders on stage and they're cut and they're dehydrated and they're looking jacked, it is for that day only. You
Mhm,
you are doing
mhm.
very specific things to ensure that your body gets to that level, whether it be the vascularity, whether it be dehydrating yourself, and the carb loading and carb depleting. There is a very specific thing that you're doing. Don't ever get that confused with I don't walk around every day looking like I did that morning that I went into the show. It's impossible. It is highly unrealistic. But that was the goal. Then I stopped and went, I can do this. How much time? And I went, yeah. I'm like, because I knew the show I wanted to do was in Little Rock. And I was like, can I do that in a year? So I started training. I had been tested on my testosterone and I started on my testosterone. And literally it was, can I lose enough body fat to do it? That was always the biggest thing. And when I started the TRT, literally it was like that 2 years of working and lifting and all the cardio. And all of a sudden, like my body goes, oh, you gave me fuel to do what I'm supposed to do. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. And like I said, I was probably, when I started out, like when I did the marathon, I was probably at 26, 27% body fat. And I got down to 12. It took me a whole year. I dropped 35 pounds, I think, from the weight I was at the marathon. But it was a very slow, it was a very methodical process. It was not something that just happened overnight. And that was always the thing. And what I warn everybody about that wants to go do a bodybuilding show, do it. Absolutely. Pray, a lot of prayer. Your workouts, you think you're going to work out and lift a bunch of weights or you're going to have to do a bunch of cardio and that's going to be the worst part. Every single day I would do my posing routine, and you talk about the most miserable that you've ever been in your life is sitting there posing for 15 minutes and hitting poses in front of a mirror, trying to get that stuff right when your body's just says, please let me stop.
So, what about the diet aspect? Because a mutual person we know on Fitbot community, Emmy Peliquan, she competed and I went to her show. She said that the dieting, getting the diet on point as you're cutting and trying to lose the weight was sometimes hard. Or, yeah. So, what was the hardest aspect for you?
The diet, I am, I eat, I am such a neurotic person when it comes to my food. I eat pretty much the same thing every day for breakfast and for lunch. And it doesn't bother me. I don't care if there's no variety. It makes me perfect for the bodybuilding. And dinner, I mix it up a little bit. Literally, there for a while, it was figuring out how to get enough protein because I was really stacking it up and then cutting back on the fats. So there was a lot of tuna packets eaten for dinner, like straight out with the fork. There was no crackers. There was no mayo. There was no relish. It was just like looking at the sad packet of tuna going, what did I sign up for? And it's not the lack of food. Eat an abundant quantity of food. The problem is you're eating a whole bunch of fairly bland, monotonous food, and you're having to force that stuff down. That is the worst part. Now, the carb cycling, like depleting out my carbs and then starting to boost it back up the day of the show and then cutting water where I drink 2 to 3 gallons a day. The day before the show and the day of the show, I didn't have water until 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the day of the show. And
Whew.
yeah, that was no fun. No, that was the worst part. I have never in my life been as dry as I was then. And I do not look forward to doing that again.
Mm. Did you work with a coach for the posing routine or for the nutrition aspect?
It probably would have been smarter, but no, there was a couple of IFBB pros that I had met at a couple of clinics and they were like, hey, send me the videos. I'll give you some tips. And when we were at the clinics, he was like, look, you pretty much have it. He goes, here's the thing. I was going in as what's called a true novice, which means I have never done a show before. I am going in master's division because I'm over the age of 40. The perks about that is there ain't a lot of people above the age of 40 that are getting up there and doing the show. It's in my groups, there were a very limited amount of people. Now, the people who win and did the show, I didn't win the overall because the guy ahead of me goes, so what are you on? And I went, oh, just like TRT, just a low dose TRT. And he goes, oh, my bill's 700 a month. And he looked like it. And
Mercy.
I'm like, good for you. I don't want to do that. It's like, okay. And it is the nature of the sport. It's even natural shows. I have my own issues with anybody calling it natural because all you have to do is take a polygraph and say, I didn't take anything and you're in. It's okay. Sure. Look, I know what you can accomplish naturally. And absolutely, you can look fantastic, especially if you're in your 20s and 30s and you started and you've been doing this for years. If you started in the last 5 years, I know what you should look like. And you don't look like that. You look like Arnold's little cousin.
So how
So,
else has your fitness journey, your wellness journey impacted your life outside of fitness? Like, how has it impacted your loved ones? Has it impacted the way you work, the way you interact with others?
It's given me a lot more self confidence in just life in general. I have never been a shy, retiring flower at any point in my life. Knowing what my body's capable of has helped. That was one of the things I early on in the journey, especially when I started seeing the biggest change getting ready for the show. My 18-year-old who's graduating this year, she looked at me and she goes, I don't like it. She goes, I liked it when you were soft and fluffy. And I was like, I'm like, I don't know what to say. You know, and they get hit hard. And I was like, I'm dad, cuddle up with me, stuff like that. And I thought about it and I was like, no, I'm like, that's at no point am I going to be like, no, let me get fat and unhealthy again so that you can feel better about this. And I'm like, no, I'm like, sweetheart, I'm sorry, but I'm never going back to that.
mm,
That's never a choice I'm going to make. And if you feel bad about that, we can talk about it, but that's just one of those things of everybody in the family knows. If I'm not at the gym, it's probably not good for everybody else. My attitude is much better when I've been to the gym in the morning.
sounds like Jody.
Yep.
Hey, let me ask you just one silly thing about these shows. What's up with that spray tan? Like, like I was at Emily's show and one guy unfortunately got it placed the wrong way and it was like dripping off of him. You can see the lines going down. What's up with that?
Depending on what show you've been to, I've been to shows where you have that. Now, that tan is expensive, or at least it was at the show that I performed at. It was about like $350 for that tan.
My God.
Uh, and I know. I'm like, seriously? So you go get the tan, and thank God I'm not a mods person because you're standing in this little tent, pop up tent, basically with an open flap, and you may have a sock on, but they're spraying everything. And you're there with 8 other guys. Yeah.
Enough.
So
Mercy.
it's one of those things where I'm just like, yeah. But if you're under stage lights, if you've ever done anything on stage, you know how bright stage lights can
Yes.
be.
Mm-hmm.
And like me, I am dark complected for a white guy, but I'm not that dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference in what you look like with the tan under stage lights with that dark tan versus what you look like when you walk out there is night and day. I mean, it is incredibly different than what you can see on your musculature and what you can see in your definition, your vascularity. And that's really why you use it. But yeah, oh no, I've seen some horrible stuff. So
Yeah, I was just wondering. So I guess that's the first time I hear it that it does help with the definition, right? So when you have it, you can see, okay, that makes sense. But I felt bad for that one guy, man. The thing is dripping off on his forehead, his chest, and you have to still do the poses. You still have to. Curtis, this has been wonderful. Look, for those listening to his episode, the man has overcome cancer 5 times, has type 2 diabetes, has a pinched nerve, and he's still killing it. He's still running. He ran a marathon. He's still lifting, and he always has a smile on his face. Jody, I don't know if you want to ask him one last question, but I want to give him the last word. Give us a little tip or sum up what you would like to tell somebody who's just looking for excuses not to stay healthy as they age.
it's the same as always. It's the same as always. It's hard. It's always difficult. You can choose your hard. You can, and life's going to suck. It's always going to be bad. There's always going to be negative things. There's always going to be, you steer into it, pick it up and be like, no, my workout, this sucks. This is horrible. I hate this. Go do it. You'll feel better afterwards. And after, not the first one, not the fifth one, not the 25th one, but about the 500th one, you're like, when did this stop sucking? This is
Hmm.
great. I love this.
Yes.
Hold on a second. No, I love to do this. I love to feel the way I feel now. And if you embrace and you steer into that and you quit looking at it as my excuse for the day. I don't feel good. My feet hurt today. I'm tired. We all are. We all are.
Hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
it, you can pile them up. You can pile them up and stack them up and they ain't going to make a bit of difference. You getting up and doing something will always make a difference.
Amen. And that's a great note to end on. Curtis, thank you very much. Jody, as always, God bless everybody. Take care.